All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to our weekly football coaches luncheon. I am Haptam Kaleta, Sports Information Director for the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and we are delighted to have you here for our coaches luncheon featuring Coach Cedric Thomas. We will get started as we discuss the previous week's game against Florida International. Didn't end up the way we expected, but the team definitely showed a lot of signs of life. We do have the current farthest punt in the FCS this season is just mentioning Jamie Gillen, Golden Toe, our senior kicker from Leonardtown, Maryland, also by way of Inverness, Scotland, kicked an 80-yard punt this weekend and scored on 3 field goals. So be sure to congratulate him when you see that. That's good for number 1 in the entire FCS. And without further ado, we will turn it over to Coach Cedric Thomas, head coach of those mighty Golden Lions.
Good evening. Just to recap, starting off, I was very pleased with just the way we handled the trip. The kids are really, making strides as far as the preparation part of it. This all new, for me and the coaching staff. But I thought the kids handled, that part well, all the way up into the game. And offensively, Coach Gales wanted the football, and he got the football and marched it, all the way down the field versus a superior, opponent. Them guys did a great job. Taylor Porter, very exciting running back to get a chance to get back home. And hear his mom, scream his name out in the stands, and the offensive line kind of dominate up front. And we drove it down. We'd love to have the touchdown, but got a field goal and kind of got things rolling. Defensively, it was exciting to see them guys defensively run around and make a few stops early, within the first couple drives. Offense continued to move the ball. And then, back to the, the things of, the discipline from the standpoint of giving up a few big plays in the secondary. Just got to do a better job of putting them in, those advantageous situations where they can maximize their skill set. But just too many plays on the defensive side. I got to do a better job once again, of putting a game plan together, which, we did, and we was a whole lot better. We went from maybe, I think, 38 missed tackles to about 19, which is a plus versus an upper echelon group, such as those guys at FIU. Coach Davis got those guys playing at a high level, and they're a Division I football team for a reason. And, offensively, just to watch Skylar Perry go out, against, a big-time college football program, and got banged up, took some shots, but, just like the week prior, got back in the football game, stood in the pocket, made some big-time throws. That was exciting to watch Tyron Raff and Kobe Watts, make big plays offensively and defensively. It was really exciting, and, they fought. I couldn't be more proud of just, the way they came out and competed for 4 quarters. My whole deal is when the plane landed, I was going to go right in and watch the film. And I didn't want to see any quitting, didn't want to see any bad body language. And, and that's exactly what I saw. I saw guys giving maximum effort, playing with a cohesiveness all the way through, no matter, what the time entailed was on the clock. They went out and did a great job and did the best that they could based on the situation. The sideline was upbeat. It was a heckler in the stands, that was very, very disrespectful to the young men. And they never wavered, they never wavered. They never got out of character. And that just entails to me that they really growing up, So that part was exciting, and once again, just excited about Taylor. He's the bloodline of the program, with Josh being down, and Shannon being down. This kid, was on his 3rd 100-yard rushing game against a big-time program. But that's what we expect. Coach Lee does a great job of preparing them. He hit the hole, did a great job of making guys miss. Coach Teasley with the offensive line, doing a great job of creating a new line of scrimmage. So those guys are really playing well. Coach Sheffield with the kicking game, I think we hadn't had a field goal block yet. And Jamie does a great job, just preparing and making the kicks. And the punt was extraordinary. You don't see that on any level, NFL, XFL, whatever the league is. You don't see that, and that just, tells what type of kid he is. But defensively, we cleaned a lot of things up. I was really, really excited about those guys on some particular run fits, going against big-time athletes. And, just got to clean up a few more things in the secondary standpoint. Still disappointed with the eyes. We just got to do a great and a better job of just honing in on our keys and doing the things that we coach to do. and everyone will be held, accountable to the high standards, including me. And I got to continue to get the staff to understand that we got to put them in great situations to be successful, and we'll do that. But overall, we're just pleased, with these young men as we write in this journal, but just getting better. That's what we talk about. We just writing in this journal. Every page as it turns, we want to see improvement. We want to see, see them get better. And we're doing that, so we're excited. And this week we're looking for a great Jackson team to come in, with Coach Hughes and those guys. But just to kind of, finish up on last week, I thought we gained a lot of confidence. I thought we handled, getting on the plane, getting home at 3, 4 in the morning, and then seeing them back in the building for study hall, even though it's hot, transitioning to the library, also going to all the extracurricular things they had, such as the student athlete function. So all in all, I couldn't be proud or excited, just to be in a part. Like I said, I enjoy the adversity, bring it on. It just entails, that we're all in as a coaching staff, from administration standpoint, and as a head coach. We're gonna continue to get better, and we will be better. But I'm excited. Can't wait to get out at 7 o'clock and go to work with them.
All right, Coach. I'll start with the questions from this past weekend. Of course, had that big play. You're a defensive guy. We had Jeremy Brown make a huge catch, 41-yard near touchdown as he got to the end zone. Ball slipped out, goes out the back of the end zone. Have you ever been a part of a play like that on the defensive end when your previous years before coming here?
Yeah, when you've been around the game 16, 17 years, it ain't anything you hadn't seen. But like I told the team, that play is indicative of where we are right now. We're coached, and they're coached every day to what Coach Gale say, TCP of football. That's making sure you got the ball tucked to your chin. And we don't need those extra yards. And that's an effort play. That kid is just trying to go above and beyond and make that play. But what we're telling him is, you don't need to make the splash play. Just make the extraordinary play. We'll get it on the one, and we'll score. And that's what we're excited about. Once they start to continue to take the coaching from that aspect, then, the small things going to take care of itself. And that's what we're excited about, just from the foundation of us growing and getting better. That play was indicative. Then you see the other play where, great effort by the defense. We go and knock the ball out, and all of a sudden, they got pick the football up. And sometimes the football guys are as such, until you start to do all the things right, just the small things, then you'll get those blessings. But we're excited about it. Like I said, we really excited, and we're gonna continue to get better. But those are just 2 plays that I've seen before, and we just got to continue to keep pressing on. But we got to just do the small things. That's what we coach to do from Monday through Friday.
Thank you, Coach. Questions from Florida International, please.
Coach, at his news conference, Coach Davis basically told reporters that he saw some things about the Golden Lions that he concluded that you're going to produce a winner. He said he basically spoke to you or one of the other coaches. And did you have an opportunity to talk with him? Follow? So did you have an opportunity to speak with him before or after the game?
Yeah, we spoke, before the game and after, because, we played him last year at the other institution I was at, and, he had high praise then because we played a well, fundamentally sound game, and it was the same, just talking about how he had his journey in establishing the program. But the biggest thing, in-house is what he said about my kids. A lot of people perceive, what's going on as the numerical as being wins and losses, and that don't define us. But to hear somebody, from the other end, watch the film and see the character, to see the hard work, the discipline, and just the wherewithal to continue no matter what the circumstances are, that's the ultimate, the ultimate telltale sign of the discussion that you want to hear about your kids and your product. And that's what I told them after the game. We're gonna continue to build on this foundation of hard work, doing the little things, doing the small things as we build this, going forward. But that was, real nice to hear, and I told the kids. But we still just got to have a tie the cerebral part in it. Still just too many mental lapses. All the effort in the world doesn't entail success when it comes to the process and information part, and that's what we got to be held accountable more at. I want to see them think. They got to be in thought. They have to process information, and I think they will. They'll continue to get better doing it, but. It was great to hear, Coach Davis mention that about the program, and we'll take the heed to that as we go forward.
2-part question. Number one, Takeaways from the game. What did you see as improvements on offense, and what disturbed you most about it?
You know, the biggest thing, the improvements were just the offensive line. You know, we finally got the All-American tackle in, Bradley Burrell. This is his first game playing, you know, out of shape a little, but, you know, he fought, you know, and we was outmanned far as the weight, you know, probably I think about 80 pounds. But those kids, you know, we created a whole line of scrimmage. You know, here we are rushing for almost 200 yards against a team that got 85 scholarships. I mean, them kids fought their tails off. You know, we ran the football, and those just physical manhood plays. So I was very, very excited about that part. You know, got to do a better job of keeping, you know, the linemen off Skylar. But, you know, I know Coach Teasley get all that rectified. On the perimeter, Ralph, you know, Tyron Ralph did a great job, you know, catching the football. Jeremy Brown stepped up again from a passing standpoint. So that was great. And the negatives is we got to score touchdowns. You know, we love Jamie to death, but we don't want Jamie to lead the nation in field goals because that's only 3 points. We want touchdowns. So we're going to do some things offensively to get 6 points. And, you know, me and Coach Gales get in the lab and come up with a philosophy and a concept to be able to score touchdowns and not field goals.
Let's go to the defense. Your takeaways from the defense: improvements and disappointments.
The improvements was just the run fits. I mean, we fitted up a whole a lot of runs better than we did in the past. Where you watch the South Dakota game, those same plays went for 80 and 90 yards, and just the core of the 7 guys in the box was way better. You know, it was sound. They understood, you know, the structure. They was where they're supposed to be. That was awesome. And the disappointment is just the processing of information. You know, we go over it every day, you know, multiple times through walkthroughs and in the playing part. But, you know, our staple is going to be thinking. You know, we going to be able to think, and I'm going to hold them high to it because that has nothing to do with football. That's life. You know, we got to be able to have cognitive skills no matter what field we're associated with, and we got to be able to outthink people. When you're not the biggest, the fastest, like I said, as it relates to the line, who's not the biggest animal, but still the king of the jungle, then we got to be able to use those intangible skill sets and characteristics for us to still be successful. So the disappointing part for me defensively is just the mental lapses. You know, we got a great call on the pressure, and then we got a guy that just, you know, just got bad eyes, you know, looking in the backfield instead of matching his route, and we give up a 70-yard play. You know, so that's the part that we're going to continue to, you know, harp at and continue to get better. But those plays are starting to get cut down, and we know going forward we'll be better at it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, next question from this past weekend, please. Yes, ma'am.
Coach, where do you believe you could have employed different tactics?
A little more pressure defensively. You know, we had some pressure early and got to the quarterback, but then when you see the ball go over a couple kids' heads, you're kind of like, you know, am I doing them justice by continuing to blitz the quarterback and leaving them out there one-on-one? So, but they did a good job, you know, after the adjustment. So, you know, if I could do anything, you know, differently, I would like to at least, you know, send them a little more pressure, you know, on them offensively to kind of get that ball out that quarterback hand a little faster. Good question.
Thank you, Amber.
LeBron Marbley, Deltaplex Radio. Coach, after a very tough, I guess you say pre-conference, including the conference game we played early, how do you see the team is obviously improving? How do you see the improvements in the play like this past Saturday? How do you see that translating into conference play?
Yeah, well, you know, because now what's happening 5 games in, the system and the structure is starting to be the same. You know, you're getting the same looks. You know, there's no more exotic looks that you have to game plan for, or just, you know, just popping up out the sky. Basically, out of 5 games, you pretty much have seen it all. So now they're able to just lock their eyes in on their keys and their reads and be able to see the picture as is. And now basically the playbook in, you pretty much know, you know, what can you do well defensively and the things you can't, you just kind of stay away from it. So, you know, that's the biggest thing of going forward. You know, we got a general idea now on player skill set as it relates to system and structure, and now we can plug those pieces in to make sure we're maximizing the key skill set as it relates to the total defense and offensively.
Any more questions regarding Florida International before we focus on the Jackson State game? All right, we'll move forward to the questions about Jackson State, SWAC conference game this Saturday, 2:30 at Simmons Bank Field.
Tim Stubbs, UAPB Television Sports Coach.
What's up, Tim?
Big game Saturday as we transition now back to conference play. Just one game in, still a lot to play for this season. Talk about that and how big it would be for your team to get a victory Saturday.
Every game for us, is the biggest because it's the next, but it also give us a chance to play. We still learning each other. Each time we can go out and fellowship through this great game is an opportunity for us to learn each other more and continue to get better. So anytime we can go play anybody, it can be a little league team. Let's get them out there on Tuesday and let's go play some football. That's what we need to do. We just need to play. It's the big game because it's the next one, but it's also another chance for us to go out and compete, and also for the seniors. These games dwindling down, and we got a lot of kids. It's gonna be it. So I kind of feel bad for them in that regards, but they understand that we just got to maximize these opportunities. And you'll never hear me say anything as far as wins and losses, because that don't define who I am as a coach, and it won't define my kids. Even when we turn it around and we get a really good football team, I want, wins and losses, they are what they are. But what I'm looking for is a good product that the fans who sat out in the rain and watched us be proud for, and the community, be proud for. And that's, a good brand of football. And that's tackling, that's running, that's catching, doing all the small things. And even in Florida, my biggest thing, the band wasn't there, but I made every kid, go by and wave to them fans that we went to that locker room and tell them thank you. We appreciate it because they didn't have to be there, with the things that happened to the bus, and having to get a compressor, whatever it was. Them guys was right there with us. So we walked in a line right past and waved our hand and said thank you and appreciate it. And we'll continue to do that for the ones that support us. So for us, we know Coach Hughes will have his team ready, and we'll be ready. But anytime we can go out and play right now, I'm all for it. We'll continue to get better and continue to get this program turned around in a way that we know it will be.
Getting off to a fast start, I would think,
Yes,
would be
sir.
top of the line for you after the Prairie View game. Speak to that just a little bit, and what do you see the offensive line thus far in the season, which is really the glue to any offense?
Yeah, the fast start is huge, man. That's what we want. And you could kind of tell just from, the FIU game. We got 2 stops early. And, man, you talking about the atmosphere was just crazy. The kids, you could look in their eyes to see the excitement, because that just set the tone, for offense to drive it down, defense get stops. And then you see the confidence, settle in and after that. So it'll be the exact same thing Saturday. We got to get off to a fast start, offensively and defensively, and I think we will. So if we got to, run a few pressures to kind of get them moving, or if we got to run some base defensive things to kind of get, get a fast start, then we most definitely do that. But that's going to be the first thing. And the offensive line, you can't speak enough of the job Coach Teeter's done with those young men. That's been the biggest thing. When people come watch us practice, they look at, man, that offensive line, you got 16 of them, and they can play, and they tough, and they physical. And that was just testament to, watching what they did, last week to a good FIU team who played Miami. So we're gonna do a great job up front. We got to own the line of scrimmage. Get Taylor the football downhill, and Jamal, and all those guys. Run the football hard. And I think we keep the defensive line off Skylar. We'll be successful. But defensively, we most definitely will get off to a better start than we did against Prairie View.
Finally, and I'll let somebody else ask some questions, but pre-game press conferences are a little harder, hand select questions, because you can't really get into injury reports, things of that nature, going into the game on Saturday, because you want to keep things in-house, close to the vest, understandably so. What have you seen from Jackson State that might present some issues, some problems, or some matchups that you might like, that you would like to exploit, but you may not can get into? But just speak to that just a little bit.
Coach Hughes, he's like my mentor. When I was in junior college, thinking I didn't have a way out, he was one of the junior college coaches when he was at Hines and I was at Mississippi Delta, who kind of, gave me the incentive to give me the motivation to not settle for the junior college deal. And I've been through that whole journey, being associated with junior college not being good enough, before I signed, when I signed here and couldn't make it. But he was one of the coaches that always told me to go to camps, go to clinics, and expand my knowledge. So, watching him go to Mississippi State, Southern Miss, Ole Miss, and now, have his own team, in Jackson, says a lot about him. A lot of football, and those guys will be prepared. Got a good football team, but also behind the scenes, I was able to talk to him about establishing a program. He's also taken over a program who, was a powerhouse for some time that's now going, through some hard times. So we was able to, the coaches convention, to be able to just shop ideas about, different ways to be able to establish a program, So I know Coach will have his kids ready, and they'll be chomping at the bits. We stuck them up last year and took one, so they'll be excited to come back and look for revenge. But he's just got overall good ball club. They run the football hard, they throw the football well, got an athletic quarterback that can, make big time throws. So our hand, full from a preparation standpoint. And, for my team, I know we're going to come out and play hard, play sound. We do a great job of our discipline and being where we're supposed to be. I like our matchup versus, any and everybody, going forward through the rest of the season.
Okay, hi, Coach.
Hey.
This may not exactly be on the subject of JSU, but you said you don't measure wins and losses. How do you expect to recruit great caliber players if you're not worried about having more wins than losses? Because they sure will. And the second part is, do you take scholarship money away from players because you guys have the record that you have? How do y'all balance that part out?
To answer the first question, I don't know how other people deal with their programs, but wins and losses won't even be a topic or subject matter. So if kids worried about wins and losses, this won't be the school. I'm talking about academics first. I'm talking about the development of young men, in this great institution, because it sells itself. Now with having the scoreboard and having the amenities, those are, some subtitles we'll discuss. But when I talk to mamas and daddies, it's about education. Now, if we get down the line, probably fifth or sixth question, if we're talking about wins and losses, then we'll get to it. But that's so far down the list. And kids these days really aren't paying attention to wins and losses. They go in places where they can be treated as such, where they got a chance to play and who got good stuff. And we got good stuff, and they got a chance to play. But also this history, tradition type institution is one of many that you can go to and still be able to establish who you are when football, is over. And that's the biggest thing that I want to do. So I'm recruiting kids that, one, understand UAPB, understand the culture, and wants to be here. I want who want me. So that part of the wins and losses won't be discussed, as it relates to that standpoint. And the second part was? Scholarships. My thing when I came in, and this is just who I am, I'm not touching any money. I'm not touching any money, unless you're not doing the things you're supposed to do on your end from an academic standpoint and the compliance standpoint, and just from a rules and regulation standpoint. So I'm not taking any kids' money because you may not be able to run and jump as high as some others. That's not what I'm doing. You go to school, you be disciplined, structured, do all the small things and do what you're supposed to do. I'm gonna pay for it. It's some kids that that's not even playing that was, on the team before I got here that's still on scholarship. They just didn't want to play. And I said, that's fine. I'm not taking your academics. Hey, you're a senior. Get that degree. You deserve it, of it for being at this great institution. I appreciate what you've done, for the 3 years you've been here. So, if any kid is getting a reduction in scholarship, it's for off the field. It has nothing to do with football related.
Thank you. Coach, you mentioned, not just to be very brief about last year, you mentioned it was a very special game, the A.C. Gordon Classic at Jackson State. UAPB trailed by 18 points in the second half, 11 in the fourth to be specific. And the grit and the determination that they showed to come back and kick the field goal to tie with no time left and then win in overtime. What are your expectations as the game, if we have a close game, why do you like our chances if it's going to be a close game against Jackson State like last year? Because that was a special victory for the program.
Because it's in them, and just the journey of what they've been through. To watch these kids, no matter what the score is, no matter the hard times or the whatever situation they've been through, they fight. They fight their tails off, and I'm just, I'm excited to be around them. That part behind the scenes, is what I'm excited about, because a lot of people don't see that. When we get out on this practice field at 7, if you come see them, you would think we undefeated. But that's because of the culture. That's because of the attitude of the coaches. We're excited to be around and get another opportunity to go out and fellowship with them through this great game. So they feed off us. So I can't wait to get out there and be able to run around with them and hoop and holler and have fun. But I know they're gonna fight. My thing is the mentals. This game is a mental game. And until I get them to understand, hey, we're boxing. We're not fighting. You'll hear them, walking around the field house hollering 10-9, 10-9. We want to be able to, Mayweather, when it's over, and not just look for the kill shot. We want it to be methodical, and that's what we teaching. And that's why I'm so hard and critical on, because I know they're gonna be physical. I know they're gonna run. I know they're gonna jump. I just want them to be in thought. I just want them to think. I want them to process those pictures and that information, because when you talk to them and you're saying, hey, look, do you sit and go through your checklist for every play? No, sir. I'm like, well, why we practice? We practice over that picture. So when you go out, hey, what's my checklist? Hey, how's he lined up? What's the play call? How it relates to what I'm doing? And once we continue to, get better at that part, the sky's the limit. Because I know, like you said, I know they're going to fight. I know they're going to play tough. We just have to spend more time in thought and processing information.
Thanks, Coach. Any other questions for this weekend, Mr. Marvin?
And Coach, you spoke on it a little bit earlier. We both know how important team chemistry can be. After 5 games in the season, how much of do you think is with team chemistry? You mentioned that a kid just started last week. How much of team chemistry you think relates to maybe the lapses in mental thinking or things like that? How much can you attribute to chemistry?
Now, I don't think it's the chemistry part. It's just system and structure. They doing a lot of different things. It's not like anything that they've done in the past. What we doing system-wise, offense and defensively. And when you get a lot of moving pieces, and a lot of changing parts, that kind of rears its ugly head. When that pitcher sits still, we probably got a 95% success rate on getting it right. But you got a lot of offensive guys that spend a lot of time in the film room and meeting rooms, just like we do, that won't keep that pitcher still. So they trying to, formation year, motion year, and then that's where we got to do a better job of coaches to be able to, hash out all those pitches during practice. So when they see them consistently, they make the proper adjustment or the proper check. So the chemistry part, don't really play a big part of it. In the secondary, it does, because you got some guys missing, but offensively, those guys been kind of playing with each other a little bit. Besides Shannon and Josh, but Skyler's gotten a lot of reps with the ones, so they chemistry issues, they don't have any. It's more so for the secondary and Coach Quinn, but we just got to do a better job from a coaching standpoint. I got to do a better job of continue to move those pitches and give them those looking in practice.
All right, any other questions for Coach Thomas regarding this weekend's game against Jackson State? All right, we thank everyone for coming to today's Coach's Luncheon. On behalf of Aramark, Mr. Avery in the back, always taking care of us, Ms. Rossi, Ms. Linda. On behalf of Chancellor Alexander, our Athletic Director Melvin Hines II, and Coach Thomas, we thank you and invite you once again, Saturday, 2:30, Simmons Bank Field. Cheer on those golden lines to victory. Thank you so much. Let's see.